Alright, where are we? Ooh, gewaldig. Alright. Gewaldig. How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Samach Tes, Daf 69 of Masechta BavaKama. Friends. Yo, friends. Ooh, yeah, today we talk about Breira. Bum-ba-da-da-da-da. That's a fun sugya. I don't know if fun is the right way to describe it, but Breira's come up a whole bunch of times already. It's like the Photoshop kind of thing. That's what I call it. I don't know. Is it not so cool to call it Photoshop? I do think it's a decent way to think about it. Alkoponim, let's go weiter. Alrighty then. Okay, let's go. We're going to start on Daf Samach Tes with all 4 lines of the page. That's 2 dots. Gufa. Ho ho. We said earlier. I'm recording in the morning now. I like recording in the morning. But I only did it because you're lucky I didn't record last night. My brain, it probably would have been one of those short-term memory loss dafs. Oh my gosh. When I just can't remember anything. Okay, well, so now it's the morning. I've already had 2 coffees. What time is it? It's 8:30. I don't know if the power washers came yet. We might get washed away. Alright. Gufa Amar Rabbi Yechanan says Rabbi Yechanan Gazov Elonis Yashu Abaylim Ho. Oh, so Rabbi Yechanan had said that if Shimon steals an ox from Reuven, now Reuven has not given up hope of getting it back. He was not Messiahish. He intends to get it back. Shneim Einon Yechelim Lehakdish. So neither Shimon nor Reuven could be makdish the ox. Zelefi Shein Shelo, Sheino Shelo. Shimon obviously cannot be makdish the ox because it is not his. Zelefi Sheino Beshuso. And Reuven cannot be makdish his ox because it is not in his domain currently. It has been stolen from him. Umi Amar Rabbi Yechanan Hochi. Would Rabbi Yechanan really say this? Ve'amar Rabbi Yechanan Halacha Kistam Mishnah. But as Rabbi Yechanan has said, and is generally accepted to be his opinion, that the halacha is like a Stam Mishnah. Of course, we saw, I can't remember where, Masechta Gittin or Masechta Kedushin or something. Not all of his students apparently agree with that, but it's generally understood, right? You see it all over the show that Rabbi Yochanan holds that halacha is Stam Mishnah. That whenever you have an unattributed Mishnah, the halacha is like that. Vitnan. And we have a Mishnah. The proof is really going to come at the end of it. But we have a Mishnah that says, Kerem Ravai, Badadadam. Who can tell me what Kerem Ravai is? Oh, we saw this at the end of the daf yesterday, right? Right, the truth is I recorded yesterday's daf 2 days ago. And now I'm recording today's daf today. I don't know when. No. I recorded yesterday's daf 2 days ago. I'm recording today. Or I guess technically I recorded 2 days ago's daf 2 days ago. Yesterday's daf I'm recording now. When am I going to record today's daf? I don't know. Maybe tomorrow morning, maybe later today. Maybe tomorrow morning, or maybe later today. I don't know. We'll see. Who can tell me what Kerem Ravai? Alright. So we talked about a shtickle yesterday, right? That if you have a vineyard, so for the first 3 years, you may not eat the fruit, the grapes. The 4th year, it's Kerem Ravai, which means you can eat the grapes, but kind of like Meiser Sheni, right? You bring them to Yerushalayim and you eat it there. Alternatively, you could transfer the value, the kedusha of the grapes onto money and bring the money to Yerushalayim. So these grapes are able to be eaten. They just need to be eaten in the proper way. So now, hayumitzainin also b'kzuzis adome. They would, if you have a vineyard that was Kerem Ravai, they would like surround the vineyard with clumps of earth to signify this is Kerem Ravai. Don't chaparain because you can't eat it. Simona ki adome, and we kind of explained that the reason is, it sounds like a beautiful shtickle Torah. We want that it should be like earth. Ma'adome ika hanoya mino, that just like earth, you can get hanoah from. It sounds like kind of like the lulav, right? The lulav is like the spine, and the aravis are like the lips. So we put clumps of earth around the vineyard to signify like earth. Wow, what a beautiful vart. You could say it over at the Shabbos table. Just like earth, you can get benefit from after time, after you work it and you put in the work and you plow it and you seed it, and ultimately you can get benefit from it. So afai nami ki miparka sharidis na leis hanu yamina. So here also you can get benefit from these grapes, so long as you first redeem them and transfer the kedusha onto money. Then you can get benefit from these grapes. Vishal orla becharsis, and the first 3 years of the vineyard, those grapes are inedible ever. They're orla. You can't. There's nothing you can do about it. You can't eat these grapes. So they would surround the vineyard in charsis, whatever that is, to represent simona kecharsis, which represents macharsis she'ena noyamino. Just like you can't get any benefit from charsis, av hai delays be'anoyamino. So oichet the orla, you cannot get any benefit from ever. Vishal kvaris, if you have a grave basid, they would cover the grave in white. Simona dechiver ka'atzomis, because did I just say white? Sid is like lime, right? Because lime is white like bones. Apparently bones are white. Apparently bones are white. I say apparently because how do you know? Well, some people may have seen bones. You ever seen your own bones? How do you know that your bones are white? Apparently they are. Allegedly they are. But maybe they're not. Maybe they're maybe it's one of the biggest hoaxes that there is, that bones are white. Maybe bones are actually green. You wouldn't. Who would know? Who would know? Maybe it's like this conspiracy that all the doctors, they convinced everybody that bones are white. But really they aren't. Chevre, we need to go weiter. Simana de chiver ka'atzamus, that they're white like bones. Umemache v'shofech ke'echi de nichver tvei. And then you dissolve the lime into water, and so that it's super white. Okay, fine. We still haven't gotten to our point yet. Reb Shimon ben Gamliel says, Reb Shimon ben Gamliel, when do we say that you should surround the vineyard with clumps of earth so that people will refrain from eating the grapes? Bashvius. On the Shemitah year, because during the Shemitah year, everything's hefker, so you can just go and chop a grape from a vine, and therefore we have to say, wait, stop, don't chop a grape from the vine, because it is kerem revai. Aval b'shashni shavua, but during the other 6 years, it's theft. You can't just chop a grape from somebody else's vineyard. Hal iteu l'rosha v'yomus, let that stunk die. Now here is where our proof comes from. V'atznuin, but the tznuin people, it's a good thing. The good thing people, the people who are good. Manichin es hamaos, they would set aside money. Ve'omrim, and they would say, kol hanilkot mizeh, that anything that has been taken from the vineyard, any grapes, mechulal alamos halalu, their kedusha is transferred to this money, and then the money becomes hektish even after, and here's the point, even after the grapes have been stolen, essentially, right? People are coming up to the vineyard and they're just plucking grapes off the vines, they're stealing them be'etzem, and it sounds like at the end of the day, these tznuin would say, look, whatever anybody took, their kedusha is being transferred to this money, now this money becomes hektish, and this is after they've been stolen. So that's the kasha in Rabbi Yechanan, that on the one hand, Rabbi Yechanan is saying that if Shimon steals Reuven's cow, Reuven cannot be makdish the cow because it's not in his possession, and yet we have this opinion of the tznuin, and the tznuin would be essentially makdish this money, or transfer the kedusha of the grapes onto the money, even once the grapes had already been stolen. So it sounds like you can be makdish even after a theft. And if you're going to say that, well, what came right before the tznuin in this, was it Mishnah, Brisa? I don't know. Mishnah. Oh, yeah, of course, halacha kistam Mishnah, right? Yeah, of course, it's a Mishnah. So, and if you're going to say, well, right before the Tznuin in the Brisa, in the Mishnah was Reb Shimon Gamliel, so maybe the Tznuin is also Reb Shimon Gamliel, so it's not Taka Stam Mishnah. Well, that doesn't work so good either, because the problem with that is that actually Rabbi Yochanan has another statement, and that is, with the exception of 3 places, whenever you have Reb Shimon Gamliel in the Mishnayos, if ever Reb Shimon Gamliel states halacha in a Mishnah, the halacha is like him. Reb Shimon Gamliel, of course, was Rebbe's father. The halacha is like him. And this is not one of those 3 exceptions. Therefore, Rabbi Yochanan would say that the halacha is like Reb Shimon Gamliel. So either way you cut it, whether it's like the anonymous Mishnah, or whether it's like Reb Shimon Gamliel, either way, Rabbi Yochanan would say that we would paskin like that. So how on the one hand could Rabbi Yochanan say that Reuven cannot be makdish the animal that Shimon stole from him because it's not in his possession, yet at the same time he's saying that the Tznuin, he seems to be pasking like the Mishnah, like the opinion of the Tznuin, who would be essentially makdish this money after the grapes had already been stolen. He would transfer their kedusha, and he was still kind of dealing with their kedusha even after they were stolen. So Amre lo tema kol nilkot mize ela ema kol mislaket mize. So just make some tweaks, make some adjustments to the opinion of the Tznuin. And rather, they wouldn't say at the end of the day, once everything's already been stolen, whatever was stolen, their kedusha is being transferred onto the money. You can't do that. Rather, what the Tznuim would do is at the beginning of the day, they would say anything that is going to be taken, their kedusha will be transferred onto the money. So therefore, they're not being makdish something that's already been stolen. They are kind of, and this kind of gets into brera, but they're kind of already at the beginning of the day kind of saying that whatever will be stolen, their kedusha is transferred onto the money. So they're doing it in advance. Can Rabbi Yochanan really say this? But 1 second, there's more. From Rabbi Yochanan, Tznuin v'Reb Deisa, Amru Davar Echad. Rabbi Yochanan says that the Tznuin, the opinion of the Tznuin, is kind of the opinion of the Tznuins is like in cahoots. I think cahoots means like they're together with Reb Dosa. Reb Dosa, and what did Reb Dosa say? Nilkat ka'amar. Reb Dosa is talking about nilkat, past tense. The Tanya is within the Brayso. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shachar is balabais omed, v'omer kol shel yilkatu. Ani mayom yehefker. Reb Dosa Omer lituse erev Omer kol sheloktu anim yehei hefker. Chavit, did you get that, or do you want me to explain it? Chavit is talking about leket. Who can tell me what leket is? Leket is that if a fellow is harvesting his field, so if while he's harvesting some of the stalks fall on the ground, so he doesn't pick them up. He leaves them there, and the aniyim can take them. Now, the thing is, that applies to 1 or 2 stalks. 3 stalks already is not leket. The aniyim cannot take it. If it's 3 stalks that fell on the floor, the farmer can go back and pick them up and take them. Now the thing is, not all of the aniyim are Talmidei Chachamim. Not all of them know about the halachas. They might think, oh, leket. I could go during harvest, go to a field, and if there's anything that I find, I can take it. So what they might end up taking a group of 3 stalks that fell on the floor that really they're not entitled to. So in order to prevent these aniyim from sinning, or in the interest of preventing the aniyim from sinning, the owner of the field, basically says it's okay. You could take it even if you take 3, it's fine. So Rabbi Yehuda says that he does it at the beginning of the day. He says that whatever will be taken today by the aniyim incorrectly, i.e. any group of 3 stalks that will be taken, which they're not allowed to take, but they take anyways, it's theirs. It's okay, it's hefker, it's theirs. Reb Dosa says that at the end of the day, he says anything that was taken today wrongfully or mistakenly is hefker. It's all good. It's all good. It's theirs. So Reb Dosa is saying, at the end of the day, he says it, i.e. past tense, anything that was already taken is hefker. And Reb Yochanan says that Reb Dosa is in line with the Tznuin, which means that the Tznuin is not talking about any Kerem Revai that will be taken today is Mechulel. Rather, any Kerem Revai that was taken today is Mechulel. It's interesting, this daf isn't like that hard, but once you get into it, I don't know what it is. There's like, you gotta hold a few different things in your mind, you know. You gotta hold in mind the original scenario, which is Shimon stole an ox from Ruvain, and Rabbi Yochanan says Ruvain cannot be makdish it. You also have to hold the Tznuin, who are talking about this scenario by Kerem Revai, where people are taking the Kerem Revai and then they're mechalel the kedusha onto money. And now there's the scenario of the aniyim collecting leket and who are incorrectly taking more than they're supposed to, and the owner being mafkir that. So we got to figure out what's the question, right? So initially we said that, so Rabbi Yochanan says that Reuven cannot be makdish his ox because Shimon stole it. At the same time, he says that the Tznuin can be mechal their Kerem Revai onto money. To which we said, no, that's only because they're doing it in advance, not after the fact. To which we said, yeah, but that's a problem, because the Tznuin are like Reb Dosa, and Reb Dosa by the leket is talking about after the fact. So therefore, if the Tznuin are like Reb Dosa is talking about after the fact, then the Tznuin must also be talking about after the fact, and we're saying that the Tznuin are allowed to transfer the money on Kedusha, so it sounds like you can be makdish something after Gezel. So how can Rabbi Yochanan say that Reuven cannot be makdish the animal that Shimon stole? If he says that it's essentially like the Tznuin, that say you can be makdish. So there's like a few different pieces over here, and you gotta keep in mind what's what, and we're about to do some acrobatics. So, alright, maybe now you can understand why my brain is so mushy and tired. 4 years of brainial acrobatics. But it's good. It's good. It's probably making my brain a little bit better. Do you think? Probably. I think my brain's probably better off for it. Probably. What do you think? Have your brains gotten better? Are you better at critical thinking? Are you better at just working through hard things? Let's go weiter. Okay, so where am I? So Titania, as we learn in the Brisa, let's even go back a line. That the Tznuin and Reb Dosa say the same thing. Reb Dosa nilkat kamer. Reb Dosa is talking about after the fact. Titania, as we learn in a Brisa, Reb Yehuda Omer says, Reb Yehuda Shachris, Balabais Omer ve'Omer, that at the beginning of the day, the farmer, the owner of the field, says, Kol sheyilkitu anim hayom, anything that the anim will gather today, Yehei Hefker will be Hefker, and Memele, it's theirs, and they didn't do anything wrong. Reb Dosa Omer says, Reb Dosa, li'ituse erev, at the end of the day, Omer, in the evening he says, Kol shelaktu anim, anything that the anim chaptarain, Yehei Hefker, is now going to be Hefker, and we're saying that Reb Dosa and the Tznuim are saying the same. So the Tznuim are talking about once the grapes have already been stolen. Oh, so says the Gemara, Ipuch. Reb Yehuda Reb Dosa, Reb Dosa Reb Yehuda. Wow. You hear this? So the Gemara just says, you know what, just switch around the opinions of Reb Yehuda and Reb Dosa. So Reb Dosa is the one who says that at the beginning of the day, he would say that whatever anybody takes is going to be Hefker. And Reb Yehuda is the one who says that at the end of the day, he says whatever anybody took is Hefker. And therefore, at this point, if the Tznuin and Reb Dosa are saying the same thing, so the Tznuin are saying like Reb Dosa, that at the beginning of the day they would say whatever will be taken, not whatever was taken. But Amai Apchas Masnisa, but one second, why flip around the Brisa? Apcha the Rabbi Yochanan. Why not switch around Rabbi Yochanan's opinion ve'ema and say Tznuin Rabbi Yehuda Amru Davar Echad? Why switch around the brisa to say that actually Rabbi Yehuda says something else and Rabbi Dosa says something else, that they switch opinions? Why don't you keep Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, Rabbi Dosa's opinion? Rabbi Yehuda says that the Baal Abai says at the beginning of the day. Rabbi Dosa says that the Baal Abai says at the end of the day. But instead say that Rabbi Yochanan's opinion gets switched around, and it's not that the Tznuin hold like Rabbi Dosa, rather the Tznuin hold like Rabbi Yehuda, that it's at the beginning of the day. Well, I'm really happy that I didn't record this daf yesterday when my brain wasn't gonna have it. I don't know how I would have worked through these gymnastics. So Amar lo saged lo masapchas masnisa. No. It's not Rabbi Yochanan that needs to be flipped around. It's the brisa that needs to be flipped around. How come? Because it's impossible to say that Rabbi Yehuda says that at the beginning of the day, the Baal Bais is going to say that whatever anybody ends up taking mimele, it was hefker. That sounds like breira. Breira, what does breira mean? However anything works out, it was meant to work out that way the whole time. Photoshop, right? Kilu, we know that at the beginning of the day, you might have 3 stocks that are taken. Okay, when it happens, it was milichatchila, it was hefker the whole time. It's theirs, don't worry about it. When these anim end up taking that, okay, that was meant to be from the time that they took it, it was already hefker, all good. So it's impossible to say that would be Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, because that would mean that Rabbi Yehuda holds of breira, but Rabbi Yehuda does not hold of breira. Ha. So again, 2 lines to the bottom of the Amud. Lo sagid lo masapchas masnis. So you have to flip around the Mishnah. Masnis and katon need to islay the Rabbi Yehuda breira, because if we say, because our brisa in its original form is saying that Rabbi Yehuda says at the beginning of the day, he says memela whatever is taken is hefker. But that would mean that he holds a breira. That sounds like breira. But of course, Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, as we know already from Masechta, I think Erevin, Shabbos, I think maybe was the first time that breira came up. Maybe Masechta Shabbos was the first time that breira came up. It's come up several times since then. Well, let's see. It could probably. Let's see. Where's this? It quotes Erevin. All right, but there were a bunch of places. Sukkah, Yoma, Erevin. Although I don't see Shabbos. Okay. Fine, where am I? Okay, I still remember recording that daf of Breira. I was sitting in the bedroom, sitting down on the floor by the bathtub. Why was I doing that? Probably because my brother was here. Okay. So, the Rabbi Yehuda general does not hold of Breira. The Tanan is within a Mishnah, Alukech, or the Tanya, Alukech, Yan Mibein, Akusim. If a fellow purchases wine from Kusim and he has to separate Chumis and Maisris. And so Rashi adds something here that I don't remember seeing in the past when we've seen this sugya, that Be'erev Shabbos bein Hashmoshes, that it was Erev Shabbos bein Hashmoshes, and he wasn't able to separate Chumis and Maisris. So therefore, what he says is, look, I can't separate Chumas and Maisris now, but I'm just going to drink the wine, and from whatever's left over, memele, whatever I drink was meant to be chulin, and whatever's left over is the Chumas and Maisris. So Lekech Yaim ben Akusim Omer. So he says, look, Shnei Lugin Shani Osid La'afrish, the 2 Logan that in the future I'm going to separate as Truma, Harein Truma. So those will be, or they are now Truma. Kilu, I'm just going to drink the wine, but memela, whatever in the future I'm going to be separating as truma, that is the truma, right? And don't say no, you already drank the truma. No. Memela, whatever I'm going to separate in the future as truma, it's already from now. It's already the truma. Whatever I'm going to do in the future is already from now the truma. Asar meiser and the 10 parts, the 10% that I'm going to separate in the future is already from now. Meiser rishon. Test Meiser Sheni, and whatever in the future I'm going to be separating as Meiser Sheni, the 9 parts I'm going to be separating as Meiser Sheni, that's already from now, meaning whatever in the future I'm going to be separating already from now that wine is the Meiser Sheni, and the rest of it is Chulin. Umeichav v'shos miyad. He's machal the kedusha of the Meiser Sheni onto money, and then can drink immediately. He can drink immediately. Divrei Meir, that's Reb Meir's opinion. So Reb Meir seems to be holding a breyer, that he could say whatever in the future I'm going to be separating, Memela, that was the Truma and Meiser the whole time. However, Reb Yehuda, Reb Yosef, Reb Shimon, Osrin. But Reb Yehuda, Reb Yosef, and Reb Shimon say he cannot do that. So we see that Reb Yehuda does not hold of Brera, and therefore he would be unable at the beginning of the day to say whatever anybody ends up taking that's more than they should is Hefker. That would be Brera, but we see that Reb Yehuda doesn't hold of Brera. Amrei Sof, Amaiko Abchas lo Masnisin. But one second. Why did you say that we have to flip around the Brisa? Well, because the Brisa, right? To say that Rabbi Yehuda holds a breira is problematic with Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, which is breira, which is right to say that he holds of breira. So Hashtanami, Kasha de Rabbi Yochanan. But now it's Taka Kasha de Rabbi Yochanan de Omar de Rabbi Yochanan lo tema kol anilkot ele ema kol mislakit. But one second, Rabbi Yochanan, what did Rabbi Yochanan say? Rabbi Yochanan said, say kol mislakit, right? Meaning, the initial brisa, Shimon stole a cow from Ruvain. We're saying that Ruvain cannot be makdashit because Shimon stole it from him. He doesn't have it now. But there was the sugya of the tznuin, that the tznuin, after people stole their grapes, would then be transferred the kedusha onto money, and that was okay. So we say, no, don't say that it was after the people stole the grapes. It was they would say whatever people are going to take, i.e., breira. But Amisle breira, so we see that he holds a breira, but so he's suggesting breira, and he's saying, of course, the halach is like Stam Mishnah, so therefore it sounds like he's holding a breira. For Rabbi Yochanan leis le breira. For Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold a breira. Dam Rav Asim Rabbi Yochanan achen shecholku lekuchis hein umachzirin zeloze by Yovel. We've seen this before. The Rav Asim quotes Rabbi Yochanan that, says the name of Rabbi Yochanan that, if you have, let's say, two brothers, and they divide up their father, the father passed away and left property, they divide it in half. So now we don't necessarily know which part of the father's property belongs to the first son, to the first brother, let's call them Reuven and Shimon, which one belongs to Reuven and which one belongs to Shimon. So one way to say it is like, look, Reuven takes half, Shimon takes half, whatever Reuven took, Memela is the part that he was meant to take, the part that really belongs to him all along. And the part that Shimon gets is the part that belongs to him all along. And therefore, what Reuven has is Reuven's, what Shimon has is Shimon's, because what they got was what they were meant to get. The other way to look at it would be that, no, they're considered like, look, we have this property, and, we got to figure out what to do with it. We'll just divide it in half. Now, I don't necessarily know that Reuven necessarily got Reuven's half, and that Shimon necessarily got Shimon's half. I don't know, maybe the half that he got was really the half that really maybe was supposed to belong to Shimon, and maybe the half that Shimon got was really the half was really supposed to belong to Reuven. And therefore we say, okay, fine. So you know what? Reuven can use the field, right? Reuven's going to take half of it, and he'll use it. Shimon can take half of it, and he'll use it. Do I know that Shimon's using his half and Reuven's really using his half? No. So then it comes Yovel, the Jubilee year, when everything reverts. Well, then they have to, right? Then the field basically reverts to how it was when the father passed away. So again, that the brothers that divided up their father's property, likuchasem, we don't treat them like memela, they got the part that they were supposed to get. No, we treat it as if they purchased the part of the field that they're using, the half of the property that they're using. And they, renegotiate and start over at Yovel. So we see that Rabbi Yochanan does not hold of breira. So what's pshat? So Rabbi Yochanan wanted to say that that by the Tznuin, it was called Mislaket, not Kol Anilkat, but that would mean Breira, and Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold the Breira. El Olam Kol Anilkat. No, so really it is Kol Anilkat. That the Tznuin, they would say whatever was taken, whatever grapes were stolen, we're going to transfer the Kedusha onto money. So then the Shaila is, I don't understand. On the one hand, Rabbi Yochanan says that when Shimon steals Reuven's ox, Reuven cannot be makdish it because it was stolen and it's not in his possession. Yet he would say that the halacha is like the Tznuin, that if that the halacha is like the Tznuin, that if these people would steal the grapes, they would then transfer the Kedusha onto money. So how could that be? So Rabbi Yochanan stam achrina ashkach. Well, Rabbi Yochanan found a different Stam Mishnah that would support his opinion by Shimon stealing Reuven's ox, that Reuven cannot be makdish. The Tnan that we learn in, I think our Mishnah, in Agonev Achar Aganef, Mishalim Tashlume Kefel. That if Shimon steals an ox from Reuven, and then Levi steals it from Shimon, Levi does not pay Kefil. Amai, how come? Bishlam leganef rishin lo mishalem. I understand that Levi would not pay Kefil to Shimon. Vigunov mi beiso ish v'lo mi beis haganif. That the pasuk says that you pay Kefil when you steal from the person. I.e., if Levi were to steal from Reuven, but he's stealing from Shimon, he's not going to pay Kefil to Shimon. Shimon's the ganef, he's not the ish. But let Levi pay Reuven Kefil. Rather, Levi does not pay Kefil to Shimon because it doesn't belong to Shimon. And he doesn't pay Kefil to Reuven because it's not in Reuven's possession right now. And therefore, so therefore he doesn't pay kefil to anybody. And what I want to say is, and therefore, Reb Yochanan goes based on this, on our Mishnah, on this Mishnah, to say that here also by the animal, if Shimon steals Reuven's animal, Reuven cannot be makdish it since it's not currently in his possession. Now, why does Rabbi Yochanan go like this Stam Mishnah by Goniv Achar Ganef and not like the Stam Mishnah of the Tznuin? So again, my chazos the also basar hayistam aliavad ki hayistam the Tznuin. So mishum de Misael lekra because the following pasuk supports him. Well, because the pasuk says that when it comes to Ekdish, it says if a fellow's going to be makdish his house la Hashem, so my beso b'shuso, just like his house is in his rishus, av kol b'shuso, also to be makdish something, it has to be in your domain, and therefore if Shimon steals an ox from Reuven cannot be makdish it anymore because it is not in Reuven's domain. Okay, now the daf gets, I think, easier until the end. Amar Abaye says, Abaye ilav der B'yechanon tznuin. What? Amar Abaye says, Abaye ilav der Amar B'yechanon tznuin v'rebdeisa amru davechad. If not for the fact that Rabbi Yochanan had said that the tznuin and Reb Dosa have the same opinion, Hava Amina, I would have said tznuin islu der Reb Dosa v'Reb Dosa lei the tznuin. I would have thought to say that the Tznuin agree with Reb Dosa, that they would agree with what he says by the leket, that whatever the people have taken is hefker. However, Reb Dosa leisli the Tznuin, Reb Dosa, while he would say his opinion by leket, he would not say the opinion by Keren Revai. Tznuin islu Reb Dosa, the Tznuin would hold like Reb Dosa, uma beganif avdu Rabbana takanta. If by these people who are stealing the grapes, the rabbis kind of sort them out and saying, don't worry, you're not stealing the Kedusha, or I don't know about you're not stealing, but don't worry, the Kedusha is being transferred onto money, and therefore at least it's not Keren Mevai. It's not the Isser of Keren Mevai. So certainly then by poor people who are coming to take leket, certainly the rabbis would help them out and say that whatever they took is hefker. But Reb Dosa leislei the tznuin, but the Reb Dosa wouldn't agree with the tznuin because aniyim would avdu lu rabbanon takanta, because he would say, look, by aniyim the rabbis are looking out for them and saying that whatever they took is hefker. Aval ganif lo avdu le rabbanon takanta, but by ganif, people just coming up to vineyard and taking grapes, they shouldn't be doing that anyways, and therefore we're not going to go out of our way to have this scenario where it's transferred onto money and really it wasn't kerem revai. Then Reb Dosa wouldn't necessarily agree with that. Omer Rava says, Rava, Ilav de Omer B'Yechanan Tznuin Reb Dosa Omer Dover Echad. If not for the fact that Reb Yochanan said that the Tznuin and Reb Dosa said the same thing, Hav Amina, I would have said, Man Tana Tznuin, who is the Tana of this opinion of the Tznuin, that whatever the people stole from the Kerem Revai would be transferred onto money? Reb Meir, I would think that it's Reb Meir's opinion. Because Lav Omer Reb Meir, did Reb Meir not say, Meiser Mammon Gavohu, that Meiser Sheni is Mammon Gavoh? It belongs to God, not Mammon Hedjit. But even so, then in Pedia, when it comes to redeeming Meiser Sheni, so that you can just bring money to Jerusalem, we consider it to be not Mammon Gavoh, but Mammon Hedjit, in his possession, so that you can redeem it for the principal plus a fifth. The Pasuk says, "V'imgo yigal ish mimaisro chamishiso yosef olav." That if you want to redeem your meiser sheni, transfer its value onto money, add a fifth, and you can bring that money to Yerushalayim. Kari rachmona maisro umosef chomesh. The Torah considers the meiser sheni to be his, and he redeems it and adds a fifth. Kerem revai nami gomer kodesh kodesh mimaiser, and I would think that also by kerem revai, we have a Gezer Shava, it says Kodesh by Meiser Sheni and by Kerem Revai. Ksevacha, it says by Kerem Revai, Kodesh Hilulim. Uchsev Gabi Meiser, it says by Meiser Sheni, V'chol Meiser Ha'aretz, Mizer Ha'aretz, Mipri Ha'etz, La'Hashemu Kodesh. So my Kodesh, Uchsev Gabi Meiser, so just like it says Kodesh by Meiser Sheni, Avagav D'Mamon Gavohu, Linin Pedia Ukmei, Rachmona B'Shusei. So even though by Meiser Sheni, it's considered Mammon Gavoh, yet when it comes to redeeming it, you can redeem it and add a fifth. High Kodesh Nami, so also by Kerem Revai, D'chsiv Gabi Kerem Revai, Afal Gav, the Lab Mammon Dideu, even though it's not, right, it's considered Mammon Gavoh, it's Hashem's, but Leidin Achule, with regard to being poded with a fifth, Ukmir Achmone Bershusei, the Torah considers it to be in his possession, it could be poded for a fifth. Deha, right, with principal plus a fifth, Deha, ki ise bershuse nami, ha lav didei, who, because by Kerem Revai also, when it's in his reshus, it's not actually his, v'amotzi mochil, and yet, he's able to be mechalalit mishum, hachi motzi mochil, and that is why he's able to be mochil onto the money. Aval gabe leket, but I might have thought that by leket, I may have thought that came into mamona didei, since it is only his, it's not mammon gavoh. It's his mammon. Ki ise bershuse hu demotzi mafkir le. Only when it's in his property would he be able to be mafkir. Ki leise bershuse lo motzi mafkir le. I might think that you would be unable to be mafkir it once the people already took it. So therefore, Rabbi Yochanan says no. The Tznuin and Reb Dosa are the same opinion, and that when it comes to leket, even once it has been taken, you could still be mafkir it. Ravina says Ravina, Ilavdam Rabbi Yochanan Tznuin Reb Dosa Amud Avrechad. If not for the fact that Rabbi Yochanan said that Tznuin and Reb Dosa say the same thing, Havamina may have thought Mantan Tznuin, who is the opinion of the Tznuin Reb Dosa? Stavka Reb Dosa Keichit Lo Tikshe Stam Mishnah Reb Yochanan Kistam Mechida Lo Omar. Right, because if not for the fact that Reb Yochanan said that the Tznuin, which is a Stam Mishnah, is like Reb Dosa, and not that it is Reb Dosa, but it's like Reb Dosa, I may have thought that who is the Tznuin? Taka is Reb Dosa, because we asked the Tznuin against Reb Yochanan, because Reb Yochanan says the halacha is like a Stam Mishnah. So how could he say that when Shimon steals Reuben's ox, he cannot be makdish it, yet you have the Tznuin who seem to be saying that you would be able to be makdish it? But if you could say that the Tznuin is Rab Dosa's opinion, so then it's no longer Kasha and Rabbi Yochanan. So if not for the fact that Rabbi Yochanan said that the Tznuin say like Rab Dosa, I would have thought that the Tznuin are Rab Dosa, and then I can avoid asking the Kasha on Rabbi Yochanan. That was Daf Samach Tes of Masechta BavaKama. Alright, it wasn't the easiest daf, but I don't know, it was like a funny kind of daf. I don't know, it basically all came back to that opinion of Rabbi Yochanan who had said that that if Shimon steals an ox from Reuven cannot be makdish it. So then we started asking kashas from the Tznuin. We got into the sugya of Breira shtickle, but alright. And then we said that the Tznuin are not a kasha, and Rabbi Yochanan says like a different Stam Mishnah. Alright, fine, very interesting stuff. That was Daf Samach Tes of Masechta BavaKama. Hope you enjoyed. Peace out.